Hey, so I want to talk about something that I've seen come up a lot lately, which is this idea that men are not approaching women nearly as much as they used to. I've seen different video topics on this and different podcasts and the like. So I just want to give my perspective on why I believe may not be approaching women as much as they used to. First of all, I think one of the primary reasons this is happening is because we live in a post Me Too era. Some may argue that we're actually still in Me Too, but basically what this means is, many people are familiar with Me Too and how that pretty much put a huge emphasis on sexual harassment, primarily men who were sexually harassing women, and I think a response to that was, a lot of people saying, "Hey, like this is something that we need to take seriously." A lot of corporations they did a lot more sensitivity training, and there's a big emphasis on making sure, like, hey, let's make sure that women are being respected, that men in particular are not doing things that will make them uncomfortable. And I think that's good. I think men and women should be able to interact in a way that is respectful and honorable, and no one feels like they're being taken advantage of, or no one feel like they're having miscommunication. With that said, because the narrative was such that men were always the aggressors, and anytime a man did something, it could easily be considered as predatory or harassment if the woman doesn't or was not interested in hearing from him, or was not interested in what he had to say or what he had to do. I think honestly, it just made a lot of guys a lot more cautious about approaching women, because if I'm just being totally honest, I think unless a woman is attracted to a guy or romantically interested in a guy, unless that's the case, if a guy hits her up or tries, he's not feeling him, doesn't think he's attractive, thinks he's annoying, thinks he is ugly, whatever it may be, then that could be considered harassment. Very rarely do you hear a woman saying, "Oh, a guy harassed me," that she finds sexually attractive. But if the guy is ugly to her, or she thinks he's dusty or his breath stank, whatever it may be, that can be considered harassment. And I think sometimes we forget that men, they experience rejection too, and we used to live in an era where men, maybe they could expect to be rejected, but there wasn't necessarily such of a fear of a repercussion. But now that we live in a Me Too or a post Me Too era, there is a real concern that men have in the back of their head where, like, hey, if I approach this woman and I'm not her type, could I be considered, harassing her, or could I be put in a situation where I'm put at fault, or I'm shown as a predator, when my intentions were just get to know her. And that is a very, 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 very real threat that men do have to think about. And so I think this is one of the primary reasons that men today are a lot more cautious about approaching a woman, especially about approaching a woman that he may find attractive. Because, let's say that woman in his eyes is very attractive and she is very good looking. He may be thinking, man, well, maybe she has a lot of pursuers. Would I be on her level? Would I be someone that she would find attractive? Like, there may be a lot of things going through his mind. And if he's scared of being rejected, or if he's in a place where he feels like, it could really risk him, in some cases, his career. Because the thing about it is, I know of cases with guys who were unfortunately, they were accused of harassing a girl, and then the girl maybe a few months later said, okay, I made that up. But in the meantime, his career and his was going on was still negatively impacted. And so again, so if a man is looking at a woman, he's weighing the cost versus the benefit. And if it, and if it seems like the risk is greater than the benefit, then he may walk past it. And so I do think that is a huge, huge, huge reason guys right now are a lot more cautious, because that is a real reality. And again, it's very easy for a woman to cry, harassment, or to say, hey, he he passed my boundaries, but there's not necessarily a lot of check and balance. There's not as much of a check and balance for if a woman does falsely accuse somebody, she's going to be held responsible. And so, like I said, I think that is a primary reason that happens. I would say I think another reason that happens also is because sometimes there's just some women, some of us women, especially black women, unfortunately, I'm going to talk to you, we don't always necessarily have the we don't have the reputation of being the most of being the nicest. I don't know how to say that bluntly. We just don't have the reputation of being nice all the time. Actually, sometimes we have the reputation of being combative. So if a woman, even if she's beautiful, but if she has like a face or a countenance about her that looks like either she's uninterested or that she might be a little bit combative or that she might be standoffish, then again, a man is weighing the risk, to the potential benefit. And if the risk seems like it outweighs it, he may be like, okay, I'm done. I mean, I have talked to guys who have said that they've approached a woman and then they've side-eyed him or kind of like cussed him out or just been really rude. And so again, I think sometimes we as women, we can forget what the other side has to go through, what men maybe have to go through when it comes to pursuing us. And again, back in the, maybe in the olden days, a guy could do that and maybe he would be rejected, but there was not this concern of, am I going to be cussed out? Because gender roles were, for better or for worse, gender roles were a little bit more concise and clear. Women just didn't act a certain way. Men just acted a certain way. And so I think, guys could get rejected, but they kind of knew, okay, well, I'm eventually going to get what I want. But again, like, so now we live in this modern era where a guy could get cussed out from a woman easily, and it is what it is. She's not going to be reprimanded. She's not going to be looked down upon. She's not going to be saying, oh, you're acting unladylike. She could cuss him out, and it's like, that's her right. And again, like I said, men, now they're like, okay, well, this is the reality we live in. This is what it is. Does the risk, is it worth the benefit? The potential benefit. So again, I think that is another reason that happens. I think another reason too is also, it could be insecurity. And I kind of alluded to this earlier. If a woman is really beautiful or she's really attractive to a guy, he may already be thinking in his head, she probably already has a ton of suitors. She probably has a ton of guys who are already going after her. And he may just feel like, hey, she's out of my league. And why put myself in a situation to be rejected? Why put myself in a situation where I'm going to be told no, or I could potentially be, kind of looked down upon. And so sometimes a guy may find a woman that he thinks is so attractive that he's just like, nah, she's out of my league, and just pass by her. That does happen. And so, and I'm sure there are other reasons, but these are some of the primary reasons off the top of my head that I think men today are less inclined to approach a woman. So in light of all of that, I do believe that there are things that we as women can do to at least let a guy that we're interested in know that we are open or willing to be approached. So with that said, I think the main thing that we can do is simply smile. Simply have a nice and pleasant look on our face. I know that sounds probably too good to be true, but it's literally that simple. And while, we can't control what men are going to do, and there's certain men out there that no matter how good you look, no matter how much you smile, they're just not going to approach you. It is what it is. But I think, if there's a guy that you're interested in and you really would like him to approach you, just smiling, just having a nice and inviting look on your face can really make a huge difference and can give him a signal that says, hey, it's okay. This is safe territory over here. You can approach me and I won't yell at you. I won't scream at you. I won't, cry help. Like I said, just about something about being nice, something about, giving a smile, giving a nice glance, a pleasant glance, just those little small things that we can do with our body and with our face can really make a huge difference. And I think also help men right now who are really trying to navigate, this dating scene with some of the different social pressures that are now going on. So these are just my thoughts. But let me know what you think. Leave your questions, comments, concerns below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we will talk later. Bye.